Hi, I'm Amanda Miklas.
Hi, I'm Bethany Craxton.
Hi, I'm Jory Arzamanian.
Keep watching GPS 19. It's the only way you'll catch us.
Well, good evening. Tonight's a little different format because the first meeting in November we hold an election of the officers. So let me start by asking everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So let me start by soliciting nominations for chairman of the board. Would anyone like to make a nomination?
I'd like to nominate. I'll second that.
Kim Watson, seconded by Rita. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor of Chairman Watson, remaining Chairman Watson, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So ordered. Chairman Watson, one more year.
One more
At
round.
least one more year.
Right. And so we're now on, I didn't want to be presumptuous. So I will now take over, and I will be taking nominations for the election of the vice chair. Are there any nominations?
Technically, secretary.
Or secretary?
Are you interested, Andrea? Yes. I'll entertain a motion to nominate Andrea Ackerman.
Second.
Second from Lee. Any discussion? Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the secretary or vice chair, Andrea Ackerman, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion is carried. It seems that, Andrea, you and I have done enough of a job that they're willing to kind of keep us along. All right, so this is now, we're moving on from the comments portion of the meeting. And this is where we will receive comments from citizens regarding the agenda item and other subjects of concern that lie within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education. This is where the board welcomes comments from citizens. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to Groton. Board members will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentations and cannot respond during the comments from citizens portion of the board meeting. Citizens should make their presentations from the podium and state their name and address for the record. On my sheet, I have Kevin Trejo.
Kevin Trejo, 536 Shenecosset Road. Good evening, all. Congratulations to chairperson and assistant chairperson or secretary, as it may be.
Vice chair.
Vice chair? Okay. I came here tonight basically just to, I guess, inform the public, in case they didn't know, that on December 11th, this year, coming up, there will be another referendum. It is about the 2020 plan on building new schools. Well, we already voted on that 2 years ago. What's going on right now is there is an amendment to the old vote where we can build 2 new elementary schools rather, and that's the key word even on the ballot when you read it, rather than renovate as new. The 2020 plan was originally to build new schools on the middle school sites once the new middle school was built and those students were taken out and moved to the middle school. Due to cost analysis, it was a little bit cheaper to renovate as new, and to get this thing passed in the town, we figured the best thing to do back then, along with the state's guidelines on what they were going to reimburse us with, it was better to renovate like new. Well, over the time, and I will say I'm on the Permanent School Building Committee, and we will do anything that the voters tell us to do in the sense of how to build. So I'm not pushing anything for the Permanent School Building Committee. But cost-wise by the state, they realize cost efficiency, it is better to build new. And they would allow us, if this referendum passes, to build new elementary schools at the same cost that we were building renovate as new. So in some things, you know, why not have 2 middle schools? I was kidding around with some people and saying, I have a 64 Chevy, let's say a 2004 car. It's going to cost me $100 million to fix that car. Or they can give me a new car. I'm going to take a new car. So right now, go out to vote on December 11th on the new referendum. I hope you will vote yes to amend the old one and say build new schools instead of renovate as new. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Enjoy your meeting. I'm going out to dinner.
There is no one else on the list, but Ms. Roseanne, if you'd like to come up, please feel free.
We didn't see the list back here.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not in charge, but you were more than welcome to come up.
Roseanne Katowski, 24 Ann Avenue, Mystic, Connecticut. Tonight, my comments are regarding my concern about superintendent political involvement in the recent referendum question. At the October 10th, 2018 RTM meeting, during the superintendent report section of the RTM meeting, Dr. Grainer enthusiastically commented in favor of one side of the referendum question. The next day, I called him and let him know that I believe he should have commented during the citizens petition section of the RTM agenda regarding his support of one side of the referendum question. We also discussed that it was not appropriate for the superintendent to take a political position during the superintendent report of the RTM meeting. He agreed. As a perspective, all RTM members who commented on the referendum question at the October 10 meeting commented during the citizen petition section. So imagine my surprise when Dr. Grainer wrote a guest opinion in the New London Day supporting one side of the referendum question. In the guest opinion, in paragraph 5, it states, as superintendent of schools, and then goes on to make a point. Recently, I spoke with him about this, and he said he wrote it as a resident. I then referred him to the 5th paragraph that says, as superintendent of schools, and then goes on. It is clear that Dr. Grainer was speaking as superintendent of Groton Public Schools in the New London Day guest opinion piece. I don't believe this is appropriate I don't believe this is appropriate and hope that in the future, Dr. Grainer will refrain from political activities as superintendent of schools. The superintendent must not be political or show political bias in any way regarding town politics. Dr. Grainer clearly stated a political position regarding the referendum question at the RTM meeting and in the New London Day. Considering the fact that there are many Board of Education employees who are town residents, what pressure did Dr. Grainer's RTM comments and guest opinion have on how these people voted? Of course, we will never know, but the point is we should not have to ask the question. At the Board of Ed meeting last Monday, November 19th, it was stated that the Board of Ed, as well as another organization, reviewed Dr. Grainer's guest opinion. How could you all have missed the opening sentence of paragraph 5, which states, as Groton Superintendent of Schools? Clearly, he was speaking as superintendent of schools. Unlike all of you and myself, who are politicians, Dr. Grainer is an employee of the Board of Ed and should be neutral in Groton Town politics. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Attached for your review, I have my November 7th letter to Chairman Watson, Dr. Grainer's October 29th guest opinion, Carl Perizotti's letter to the editor, as well as Dr. Grainer's 2017 and 2018 Political Action Committee contributions. After careful consideration, it is my hope that the Board of Education will instruct Dr. Grainer to discontinue his political involvement in Groton Town politics. Respectfully submitted, Roseanne Katowski.
Thank you, Rosa. Is there anyone else? Portia?
His name is Grenier.
Okay. Point of decorum.
I don't know anything about it. I'm going to read it.
Portia Bordelon, 159 Channicosset Parkway. I come again to speak in regard to the Promethean boards at the high school. I have spoke at, I think, 2 other meetings and hoping that the funding will be put into the Promethean boards, which are utilized to teach our students up at the high school. Most teachers up there have curriculum that is based upon using the use of the Promethean boards. And just a back note, after the open house, that's when I was made aware after attending over 6 of my son's classes and the Promethean boards weren't working, and speaking to other students as well as other staff, it seems like it's been an ongoing problem with bulbs. I know that we did get grants to install these Promethean boards, but we must not only take the grants and make new technology in our schools, we need to maintain them. So I was curious as to where we stand at this point. I've yet to receive any reports or anything regarding the status of the Promethean boards at Fitch High School, and as I'm finding out, possibly in other schools as well. My next point would be regarding the mold at Northeast Academy. I'm hoping that we're moving forward with that. I have attended Northeast Academy for events, and the roof was leaking at times when I was there on rainy days. Thinking of the building of new schools up and coming, which is exciting, I just hope that we really are looking at the demographics and the lay of the land when constructing new buildings and making sure that we're making proper decisions on placement, style, and maintenance choice for buildings, especially when we're choosing a wetland like Northeast Academy. As far as the lead water, once again, still moving around with that. I did speak at the RTM meeting as an RTM representative. I spoke and asked for detailed report of all the allowable levels. Where were those numbers? What were those allowable level numbers, or ones that were a little under the allowable level? Anything that was bringing any form of lead out into the spigot. I think we, in all fairness, should give a report throughout the building where those locations are, and where the ones that were working, kind of a map of all the schools and the ones that have been tested in the numbers. Why is this important? There are people in our district that are sick with different things like cancer and other items, and drinking lead water, especially when people are going through treatment, even though it's an allowable level, they do not want that in their system. I'm hoping that Groton would take the approach of 0 lead, which should be our allowable level, or making sure that our number is much lower than the allowable level. We can do that as a district if we chose to do that. We hired a contractor for Northeast Academy, but we did not hire a contractor yet for the lead water, to my understanding. I feel, in my opinion, it's slow moving, and I'd like to see this closed out, along with a detailed report, as well as what is our long-term plan on all the allowable level spigots or fountains that we found. What is our action plan? Are we going to check twice a year, 3 times a year, monthly? Because once you have an allowable level, it's a day away from being unallowable. So what is our long-term plan in properly monitoring those areas in our buildings that are at allowable levels, or at this point, any lead that's coming out at all? None of that information I can find, and none of that has been given. So I really encourage for a report of all of the fountains, the numbers, as well as the long-term plans on any of the fountains or tap areas that are currently at allowable or giving out any form of lead water. Once again, it's important, once you find it, if our district's gonna stick with the allowable level, then we need to know where those exactly are. As a parent, I might tell my student not to drink from that allowable level, and I know I would not utilize that fountain for my own consumption. So those are things that I'm really hoping we can start to resolve and have a much more detailed map of what's going on and what we're actually doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bonnie?
I wasn't going to speak, but after watching this presentation, I feel compelled to say something. I am Bonnie Nault. I live at 41 Pearl Street. I support the comments that Roseanne Katowski made, and I do think it's inappropriate for the employee of the school to be making political comments, and it was incredibly disrespectful to watch you, Miss White, during Roseanne's presentation. That's all.
I would like to
No,
say.
excuse me.
I would like to say one
Point,
thing.
no.
Why can't I?
Can't.
All I'm saying is.
No, excuse me, point of order.
Okay, fine.
Anyone else?
Carl Perizzotti, 69 Noble Avenue in Noank. I'm just a citizen and a taxpayer. I'm not a political official or an employee. But I, too, find the comments by the superintendent of schools unfortunate. And I believe I describe them as being highly inappropriate. This was a very important referendum in this town, and I don't think it's appropriate at all for elected officials or their employees to use the leverage of their official offices to attempt to sway voter opinion. I'm not accusing anyone of attempting to sway voter opinion, but it would be inappropriate for one to try and do that. I will admit myself that I have written letters to the day, and my motive was to attempt to sway voter opinion, not to read the words that I had written because it makes me feel good. And I am 100% in support of Representative Katowski, and I hope that you will take into consideration her points. I mean, it's really amazing to me that an elected body approved these comments prior to their publication. Inappropriate is the only word I can use. And again, I offer that as an opinion, as a taxpayer and a voter. And I hope that you will heed what she said and do something. She suggested that you change a policy or advise people to change their behavior. I'm not aware of other town employees that attempted to insert themselves into this political issue by virtue of their official positions. And I think it's in the best interest of the taxpayers and the voters for those people to refrain from using the weight of their official position to attempt to influence voter behavior. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a clarification.
Yes.
We, the Board of Education, did not review or see ahead of time Dr. Grenier's letter. It's true. I didn't.
Okay. So I just want to let you know that it did, it was sent to us in an email, which is what was said in our meeting last week, to make sure that people knew that that's what was, said.
I was just made aware that there was going to be something. I didn't see ahead of time. That's my fault, sorry.
Katrina?
I missed the meeting, the committee of the whole meeting, the beginning of it, first 10 minutes. I thought it was mentioned that Dr. Grenier talked to the Elections Commission.
Yes.
About the letter prior, and they gave a sign, they
Right.
said it was fine.
Right.
Okay. Also, I think I asked Ms. Bordelon at the last regular meeting, she said that there were districts in the area that have 0 lead in their waters, and I still haven't heard back. If you could get me that data, I'd really appreciate it.
If you could just get to her through an email, that would be great.
The comment she's saying is not exactly what I said, so I'd like to defend myself.
Well, let's clarify that after the meeting then, so we can move on.
Well, she does, yeah.
Thank you.
So I just want to reiterate sort of that just for people who are watching the meeting, is that in our committee of the whole meeting, we as a board discussed the editorial comment that we felt that it was not a swaying, that Dr. Grenier, as a private citizen and as a resident, could write a letter of editorial. Most of us did see the editorial before it was sent to the day. And that it was clarified, once again, thank you, Katrina, with the elections committee, that it was not inappropriate, and to remind people that the editorial also had a guest editorial person who was supporting the other side. I do know that Roseanne did call Dr. Grenier the following day after the RTM and had a conversation about her concerns. And I think that was heard by Dr. Grenier. But once again, there is a balance between someone who is a resident of the town and a private citizen, and also an employee of the district. So I think that there is that line, and I felt that the board had felt pretty comfortable, and that Roseanne had spoken to Dr. Grenier, and they had a private conversation. I wasn't part of that conversation. So I don't want to give a lot of airtime to that, but Katrina, do you have anything else? Okay. To address Portia Borderline's concerns, I do know that we did have on the committee of the whole, Portia, we had a conversation last week in the Finance and Facilities about the Promethean boards. Maybe I'm making it up. I think we did.
No, we did.
Okay. And I believe that we're about 60% getting there in terms of correcting the boards. And that my understanding from the Finance and Facilities is that the DODEA, not the DODEA.
Well, we're actually doing a study to determine whether we're going to replace them with active boards or just large television screens. So we've replaced several of the pens. So about 60% of the boards are all set. And we have a report from the IT director coming.
I remember that conversation now.
Also, this is kind of ironic. Apparently pens have been missing. The teachers have lost pens, so.
What?
Some of the pens have gone missing,
Oh,
which we have no control over. However, those will be replaced.
What are,
They have to use
The pens that you write on the active boards.
okay, so it's an actual pen, but it's one that you write on the active
It's a
board.
virtual pen.
Okay, I'm now with you on that. And so Portia, to say that we have not hired a contractor to address the lead levels, I do believe that we have hired Mystic Aaron, and that we have been working diligently at the pace of the health department, a detailed report.
We should have that by the end of the week. Well, we had it. We've shown it before, but I'll get a copy out.
All right, so that's on that. All right, I'm going to move us on to the student representative report. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, a couple updates from last meeting. We did the Veterans Day luncheon on November 9th. We honored Lance Corporal William Hart. He died in the Beirut attack in Lebanon in 1981, and he was recognized. Dr. Grenier came and presented a plaque. His family was there. It was a very nice time, and we honored some Marine Corps veterans and other veterans of the military. And then we had a luncheon for veterans of all branches of the military. So it was a very nice time. Also, Girls Powder Puff. The annual Girls Powder Puff game was held last Monday night in the freezing cold. And after 3 years, my class, senior class, after being runners-up every year, we finally won this year.
All right.
So it was an exciting time in my grade. And also on to Fitch football. They defeated Ledyard 48-15 in the annual Thanksgiving game, but they did it on Wednesday night because of, again, freezing temperature on Thanksgiving. And my good friend Nick Helbig was named the game's MVP. So I was excited about that. And now on to Addie about the class councils.
For seniors, they are on December 8th, 2018 from 10 to 3 p.m. at Fitch High School. They're participating in the Groton Public School Food Service Vendor Fair. And for juniors, we're currently finishing up our candy and chocolate sales around the school. We're finishing selling that, and we are also finishing up a No Shave November fundraiser where participating teachers have agreed to grow their beard out and then shave it in whatever style the students choose. So that'll be fun. You'll show pictures once it's over. And then on Tuesday, December 11th at 6:30 p.m., we're having a movie fundraiser at Mystic Luxury Cinemas showing Polar Express. And then sophomores are also planning a movie night sometime in December.
The Humanitarian Club is having a coat drive. It runs until this Friday, and there's a box. It's just past the security desk at Fitch High School. So if you walk in and check in with the security guard and tell them you're there to drop off a coat, the security guard should place it in the box. And it's till the end of this week.
The Random Acts of Kindness Club is also collecting canned foods starting Monday, December 3rd, and the collections will end Friday, December 21st.
The Renaissance Crew, which is the organization that is in charge of changing school climate and culture, they handed out thank you bags to teachers last week as a show their appreciation. Also, they are hosting on Wednesday, December 5th from 9 to 12, they're hosting a school culture and climate conference. This is through Johnston's. Johnston's does our yearbooks, and they do other pep rally events throughout the building. And they're hosting the conference. It's from 9 to 12. Please email Ms. McGuire if you would like to attend. Schools from across the state are coming also, so it's going to be kind of a CABE thing, but at Fitch for to discuss school culture. So that's pretty exciting. Great.
Could you tell us the date again?
Wednesday, December 5th, from 9 to 12.
Fitch Amphora, the journal at Fitch High School, will be hosting an open mic night on Friday, November 30th from 5 to 8 p.m. in the cafeteria. This is where you can share writing, poetry, students' music, and other things like that. And students can sign up during lunch waves. Oh, and for Fitch Music Department, the annual winter concert is on Tuesday, December 11th at 7 o'clock p.m. in the Fitch High School auditorium. And then the next day, the 12th, will be the choral and orchestra concert. So they're back-to-back, both in the auditorium. And each ensemble will be performing the repertoire we're playing in London. So we'll get to show that.
Can you tell me again what is the time
The date.
of that?
Oh, it is December 11th to December 12th at 7 o'clock p.m.
2 nights.
Yeah.
The first night is band, so it's jazz ensemble, concert band, wind ensemble, which is percussion, and and then the following night is chorus and the orchestra. An athletic update: winter sports official practices start on Thursday, and the final sports records were football was 7-3. Boys soccer was 6-9-1. They were eliminated in the first round of the conference tournament, but they were the last seed, so they were happy to get in. Girls soccer 2-14. They had a new coach this year and a lot of young players, and they're not losing many players, so hopefully they're going to get better each year. Girls field hockey was 8-8, and it was their first time they ever made in the school's history. They made the ECC tournament, so they were eliminated by Stonington in the first round. Girls volleyball made it to the semifinals of the conference tournament. They were 11-7. And boys cross country was 7-2. They got third at conference championships. That's their best finish in 7 years since they won. So they were excited about that. And girls cross country was 4-5, and they were 9th at the conference championships.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I have a question.
Rita?
Did you mention that the Amphora is going to have an open mic?
Yes.
And what, Mrs. DeSantis has retired? Could you tell me which teacher is going to be?
Yes, it is Mr. Giovanza. He's a newly hired English teacher. He was hired in the middle of last year, and he's actually a published writer. So
Wonderful.
he's running the program now, and he actually worked with Ms. DeSantis at the end of last year before she retired. So.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, cool.
And did the Fitch football team make states?
No, they did not.
No. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to the superintendent and administration reports.
The one thing I want to report on is Wednesday night, the naming committee for the new middle school will meet, have the first meeting. The board policy calls for 2 citizens, 2 administrators, teachers, students, and parents, and we have all those slots filled. The 2 citizens are going to be Jim Streeter, the town historian, who I think is really interested in helping, and Jean-Claude Amboise, who's been involved with the schools. And we have 2 middle school students, both Mr. Martinez and Mrs. Porter are going to be the administrators, and 2 of the PTO chairs, essentially the presidents of the PTO will be part of that. So they'll meet on Wednesday night, and then I'll make a report as the committee progresses. But that's it for me.
Okay, great. Sue?
I just wanted to make the public aware, as I've made the board aware, of some of the highlights in curriculum instruction and assessment. We're actually wrapping up the English language arts, but it will be an ongoing process, but we presented K-12 and how we've realigned some of our curriculum work, and I just have a couple pictures to share with the public so they're aware of some of the changes that are occurring. And also mathematics K-12. We're still working on our science and our social studies, and we will be beginning world language. So we've been very busy with the Curriculum Instruction Council. So as you know, we have a staff site which has a whole pacing guide and everything at the teacher's fingertips, as well as the Board of Education update on the curriculum that's still based on the Common Core. But we've just realigned with some new resources and books. And we want the public also to be aware that in the language arts writing workshop that we do include, we have a whole pacing guide around phonics and grammar and conventions. So that part of the editing and revising process has been implemented this year. So we will be reporting back to you on how that's going. And just, a picture's worth 1,000 words. What you find is a teacher will do a 10-minute mini lesson of specific instruction in reading and writing, and the teacher then will have time to have off-you-go readers and writers where they'll really spend some quality time doing that work, and the teacher does conferrals. The kids might be using their laptops, so you see Amy McKenna there at high school doing one-on-one conferrals. The teacher will often have the chart paper with big Post-its telling them what the specific strategy in reading or writing is. And so the children continue to gather those different strategies and then use them in the reading and writing process. And the teacher is reviewing, conferring, bringing in small groups, and really assessing all along to see how the child is doing, or the children are doing. One of the things that comes from Richard Allington, who is an expert in the teaching of reading, is what's the impact of reading and writing? But the impact shows you on this slide that 20 minutes per day matters. So if you look to the left, you see students who read 20 minutes per day will be exposed to 1.8 million words per year, and they tend to score in the 90th percentile. A child who reads only 5 minutes a day is expected to gather 282,000, a big number, but is only scoring in the 50th percentile, and this is research-based. And the child who reads a minute a day, or not at all, hardly reads, only is exposed to 8,000 words and has 10%, is only in the 10th percentile. So our mission in Groton Public Schools is read, read, read. Read at school, you know, we have a 90-minute block, and the kids are doing the work of the reading, and then the discussing and the comprehension. And read at home. Homework is really based on reading and keeping their logs and really enjoying reading. So I think that's a pretty powerful slide. That's the whole purpose of this. And then the math workshop, very similar to reading and writing. You can see Dr. Grenier on the floor playing a math game, and I was very interested in a domino game that they had that used all different kinds of images. And then card games, dominoes, dice. So game playing is essential in the program, but so is performance tasks and a lot of work with students in think tanks and groups, but in small groups and also individually. So you'll see that the workshop is, again, 10-minute mini lesson. Kids, off you go, mathematicians, to do the work. The same is true, really, K-12. So in both English language arts and mathematics, whether you're elementary school, middle school, or high school, we're really seeing that shift in instruction. It gives it a more personalized approach, and the teacher really gets to know how the kids are thinking and what they're doing, and it informs their instruction so they know what to do next, which is powerful. We have technology like Dreambox in math and Lexia in ELA. And at the high school level, you see game playing happening at the high school. There's Caitlin Kennedy, who's our department chair in mathematics. And you know, she brings back to her staff and works with her staff on really engaging process and strategies to learning mathematics and higher order, and using the tools for mathematicians, whether it's using the Chromebooks, whether it's using high-performing Texas Instruments, or computers and calculators, and really preparing them for PSAT and SAT, and that's all built in to the Common Core curriculum that has been updated and revised. And this approach to inquiry-based instruction, whether it's in math or ELA, really offers that differentiated approach and a deeper understanding with rigor and relevance in all areas of English language arts and mathematics. So I just wanted to highlight and capture some of those things. You've heard it. You've been at the COW and you've heard from our teachers, which is really the powerful approach that they really have come to the table and have talked about. As much as they're taking on, they're realizing the benefits in the classroom. So I just wanted to brief you on that. The other thing I just wanted to say, our regional PD day was a success. It was regional, so a lot of our special area teachers went either to learn or to other districts or to our district, and they collaborated beyond Groton. For our middle school and high school, we had the MYP launch and work around the MYP planners. And for elementary, we did a trauma training day, so it followed up with the Mental Health Summit, which was on the 5th, where Janine Fitzgerald spoke to the community. We had over 100 people attend that. And there will be a report that I will submit based on the discussions that were happening. And then Janine came and talked to our teachers and all of our paraprofessionals. And then Learn did a follow-up on that on some specific trauma training. So just wanted to brief you on those two things.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. And as Sue mentioned, we did have a pretty extensive, we actually had 10 people from your math curriculum come and present and talk to us a little bit about that. We did see the slideshow with some video clips. Is that accessible for the
I'm going to check on that. I have shared it out with the staff on Google Sites, but one of the things that Mark Russell, shout out to Mark Russell, behind the scenes, PS, by the way. He went with me, I think, for 3 weeks into every single school to take pictures and video clips. And what he has suggested is that we do a forum where I bring teachers together to talk about this and to go through some of those slides that we could then put up. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So between those pictures and the videos, I think families will understand better what's happening in the classroom. And we definitely want to do that.
I can't speak for anyone else on the board, but what I loved about the presentations, the last two that you did on both the reading and the math in our committee, the whole bringing it alive, like seeing it in the classroom, seeing the pictures, seeing the videos, was just, it helped bring meaning to what you were saying. And it was neat to see the excitement of the teachers.
Well, we have the curriculum board meeting, and Dr. Ackerman leads us with that charge, and that was actually her recommendation, that she's been meeting with teachers and talking about the work, and she said, wouldn't it be great if you could just show us what it's like in the classroom? And actually a teacher today said, if any of the board members want to come and see it, I would be happy to show them.
That's great.
So they were really happy to share.
Nice job, Andrea, for recommending that.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. All right. So we're now on to the business manager report. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am dandy.
Good. So attachment 1 is our updated object code summary. This object code summary shows that we are trending very close to budget. We have an anticipated unexpended balance of $36,907. So it's a really tight margin, but I think we're on track. It's the same scenario as we spoke in previous meetings. There are some accounts like salaries and transportation where we are positive to budget, and then other areas such as diesel and heating oil where we're either under budgeted or we've accounted for that. So
Okay.
we're getting there.
All right, thank you. And then you're next onto your health insurance report.
Health insurance report. We had this, so this is through September of 2018. The month of September was an extremely good month for us. We only spent 73% of the budget. Year to date, we're at 85.7% of budget. Last year at this time, we were at 93.7. So we're trending better than last year against the budget. So I think we're in good shape. Once again, this particular HSA plan, folks tend to hold off on some of their medical claims till later in the year when it's no longer within the HSA amount. So we should expect to see this deteriorate, but crossing our fingers and hope we stay within budget on this.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? Now, moving on to the budget schedule.
All right.
You got it easy today.
Yeah. So the budget schedule, we are in it. Today is November 26th. We have received budget data from principals, and we are in the process of laying all that data in. Dr. Grenier and my staff and myself met today to lay out a plan to get that together so that next week we can start, as the calendar shows, reviewing with the administrators and discussing and coming up with a draft that we will share with the Finance and Facilities Committee on December 17, and then share with or present to you come January 7, and then we'll have some meetings.
Yeah, it looks like we will be with each other quite a bit.
Yes.
We become our new best friends for 2 months. I just want to make just a note that May 20th, the last date in the end, it should be to the 23rd, 19 2019 on 2018.
You're right.
I'm assuming that that's what that is.
That is a typo.
And that also, and maybe Katrina, if I'm stealing your thunder, you can just send me a very dirty look. But that we also discussed in the committee of the whole that we are going to have a new budget format. Okay. All right. Off to Mr. Kilpatrick, unless you want to wait.
No, I'd like to do it now if I may. Good evening. So I'm going to report on the 2020, Groton 2020. And as you probably already know, there's going to be a presentation made to all of us on December 10th. The architects and I believe Rick Norris and Rick Norris from Public Works, who's our manager of the project, and Bob Austin LaFrance from the Permanent School Building Committee, and Jack Butkus, who is he's our owner's representative. I believe they'll all be here to make that presentation and explain the plans to you. And the importance of this is the fact that one of the next things that the board needs to do is to actually approve the final plans, the project manual for the plan, and also the professional cost estimate, so that we can move on to the state on the 15th of January. So while the presentation will be made on the 10th, on the 17th, we plan to answer any questions that you have regarding the presentation. And then there will be a vote, I hope to approve, on January 7th, so that on the 15th of January, we can move on to the state and make the submittal of the project. Any questions?
Rita?
I thought we were going to have the presentation about the plans at a regular board meeting so that it would be on camera as opposed to a COW meeting. I thought that's what we had talked about when we had our retreat and we had the presentation. It was just...
Well, the Permanent School Building Committee, you're right. We actually had a little plan to have a special meeting on the 28th. The architects weren't ready. So what they wanted to do, we are going to do something on camera on the 17th, but the architects are going to come in and really give the board an opportunity to study the plans and the final project, the manual and so forth. Then we will make a presentation on the 17th and get questions answered. The whole point is, as Sam said, is to prepare the board for a vote on the 7th of January, because I think the town council is voting like maybe the next night, the 8th of January. And then we have to take this to the State Department of Administrative Services. I think 15th is our day. So this is the big, really huge drawdown of the money that we're attempting. But they won't do anything unless the board and the town council approve the final plan. So we actually wanted to give you, well, actually it's going to be the better part of 4 weeks to sort of think about this before the vote.
Will the town council be invited to the presentation on December 10th?
Yes, and so will the RTM members.
Good. And where will it be?
Well, it's going to be in room 11, but we think some of the town councilors will come, and some of the, perhaps the education committee for the RTM will come. We thought that was probably, in terms of the technology, that was the best place to show it and to allow the board to interact.
Gretchen?
The time on it?
6.
6. Just trying to make sure I have every ducky in the water.
Yep.
Got it. Any other question? So I think, Rita, to your point, I think that we wanted to make sure that we got to see it as much as possible, and with at least one of the times being viewed on camera, so that it's another way of getting out the information to people. So I think, but we also have to sort of move with other people as well who are in the permanent school building. So, any other Any other stuff?
That's all I had on the agenda to report on.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I had one correction. The board received the volunteer hours, and Joan and I normally work on this, but the hours came in a little late from the high school. But the hours are pretty huge at the high school. For the month of October, 508 hours for the band, 108 hours for athletics, and 500 hours for robotics. They are really churning and burning in all of those areas. And
How cool.
yeah, so it's 1,116 hours, actually plus the 80. But I can't do that in my head.
Nor can I. So we'll move on from that. All right, we're on our committee reports. Lee, for policy?
Yeah, we had some schedule problems at the beginning when we usually meet. So we met today. And it took us almost an hour to just do one thing in particular.
Okay.
But we will be ready to bring it to the board, the last one in December.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Curriculum.
Well, curriculum hasn't met, but now we're going to have a quorum. And I think we're going to change our hours to 5 o'clock instead of 3. I think that'll make it better for all of us. So big things to be expected.
Okay. And Katrina, my understanding is that you will be presenting for finance and facilities?
Yes, there was a lot of stuff. Some of it has been discussed here. The only reason I'm doing it is because Jay is out of town.
Yeah.
So everyone knows that's why he's not here. We reviewed the budget schedule. Along with that, as you had previously mentioned, we reviewed the budget format. It is going to be a little more expanded, which is basically going back to the way the budget was presented prior to Dr. Grenier getting here with a couple additions. Let's see. Oh, in the budget, I counted, we're supposed to be attending 11 meetings for the budget deliberations, not including subcommittees for the RTM. It's a lot.
Well, I think that we put that much in because it's easier to say we don't need that budget meeting versus to say that we do need, because it becomes a special and you can't do anything to it. So I think that we wanted to get that on record so that, if we do our due diligence and we only need 7 of those 11 meetings, then that's all we need. But I also didn't want to create a space where we needed 11 and we only allotted 6. So
And I think we've used them all before.
I think we have.
Yeah. Okay, we also reviewed the impact aid that just arrived, one of our payments. We looked at Treehouse, which is our childcare before and after school program, versus other providers, and let me tell you, we are the biggest deal in town, significantly, which is really great for us. We also discussed the possibilities of a scholarship, which we will be finalizing shortly, hopefully. We then reviewed the high school athletic event admission report summary, and the basics of that were that someone had made a statement from the podium about the cost, and so we looked at all that stuff, and also I did not realize that there's an annual pass that you can get for $40 for 2 adults, and that students can get an annual pass for $20.
Is that for all the athletics or just volleyball?
The season.
For all
I think it's the
athletics?
winter season, the indoor season, plus the football. And the Ledgered, when we have the Ledgered game, the admission is split between Fitch and Ledgered. Okay. We also looked at the IT schedule and priorities for the whiteboard repair replacement program, and there was further info that we wanted, which will be coming to us at the next finance and facility. We talked about the DoD supplemental grant, and I think that's it.
Did the finance and facilities come up with a recommendation about how to move further with the athletic?
The athletic admissions cover basically everything except 1/3 of the high school athletic program. Everything from police to like CIAC membership, event security, if it's separate from the police, so, and then other.
So I
basic
hear that
things.
you investigated, which I'm so appreciative of, that you guys got into the weeds with that. But will you guys be coming forward with a recommendation about that? No, you.
No, we
that you
just
feel
wanted
the
to review
policy-
it because someone had asked us what,
Well,
had made a
A
comment.
citizen had brought that up as a concern, that the tickets were,
Too expensive
too
if you have a big
expensive.
family.
right.
Yeah. So there was no, we wanted to look into it, and that citizen was told that we would be discussing it tonight, or I would be giving a report. And if he has any further questions, he's free to comment or contact us.
The big picture, I'm not sure I heard you say it, out of all the events, all the events where we collect fees, the district collects, or the sports program really, collects $28,000. For those events, not count salaries, of course, it's about $44,000. So all of that money goes to pay for those events. So I think what the committee looked at is if we changed all or part of that structure, we would have to add that to the budget because it does pay for officials and buses and staff security, that sort of thing, police. So I think the committee felt that adding an additional $28,000 to the budget would be a hardship.
We'd have to get rid of something else.
Right.
And this is partially self-sustaining.
So they
partially.
did not make a recommendation to change.
Okay. All right. Moving on to Learn.
We had a presentation by the New London Public School, the new superintendent, Cynthia Ritchie, which was very interesting. New London is an opportunities district. It's one of the few in the state, and because of that, they receive quite a bit of extra financial aid. We also had a roundtable discussion about the start date for children entering school. Right now, Connecticut is the only state out of all 50 states that has a January 5 before January 1st start date. And we will be writing letters to the state and asking for that date to be changed. We discussed how there's a skills gap of those students entering without pre-K experience and the need for a regional pre-K offered district-wide, which would be wonderful. I would love to see 4-year-olds in our schools full-time. It makes such a difference for the children. So I know the CEA has had letter writing to the state, the state Senate and the House, because it is so important for that date to be changed. So, especially with all they need to know now in kindergarten. It's almost overwhelming. And we had, let's see, what else did we talk about? A lot of things. Dr. Hawley shared some of the samples of the Learn Professional Development for the region, that the Regional Multicultural Magnet School hosted a 2-day international baccalaureate training, and that the Marine Science Magnet High School partnered with the Groton City Police Department for an active violence training experience. And that was really very interesting to hear, and what a great partnership they have. They're in such close proximity to the city police, so as we are to the town police here. And Learn Support Services also did an in-service workshop regionally on dyslexia. So that's about it.
Thank you very much. Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
and I was also at two negotiations committee for their teacher negotiations, which has been finalized. It was just an opening for salaries. And I'll be at a meeting tomorrow morning,
Yay.
8:30.
Oh, Casey making her breakfast?
No.
The next is the Board of Ed and the Town Council and the City Council and the RTM liaison, and we met in November, the first Wednesday in November. Once again, it's a great time just for the bodies to kind of get together and kind of talk and to understand sort of what was going on. We spent a lot of our time talking about the 2020 plan, and I think that feels like that was it. Trails liaison, Gretchen?
They move forward, as they always do, looking to improve trails for people so they can continue to enjoy them, working on the areas to make them more animal-friendly, and just sort of like find that little balance, because it's very difficult in these green zones.
Leashes.
Well, it depends on the dog.
No.
Okay.
But I won't go into my personal feeling on that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So they're working hard.
Okay, and what about the Groton
And
Scholarship?
pick up after your dogs. That would be great, too.
We're
Scholarship
solidifying.
is continuing to move forward. I don't think we're having a meeting in December because it's usually the Christmas party, so I usually skip the December meeting. They move forward, they're collecting money. Get your money in before December 31st so that you can get a tax break.
Oh, awesome. That's a good word. And the one that's not on here is negotiations, and hopefully tonight, we will be able to finalize our end of that in terms of the fact that we will be voting on the teacher's contract that the negotiation team worked on with the teachers union for it to be then sent to the town council. We are now at the action, Katrina?
I had a question for Rita. You mentioned IB training. Was that for their primary year program or for their? I'm sorry, you mentioned IB training?
Yes.
Was that for New London's primary years or high school or what?
Primary. The regional multicultural management school is going to be an IB primary school, which would be wonderful because then it would just go right. You know, the students, especially the Groton students, will then just sort of matriculate back to our IB programs.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
We're now into the consent agenda, and I will take a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Have a second?
I'll second that.
So Rita seconded, Andrea firsted it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion has carried. We would like to say thank you to Your Cause LLC trustee for Pfizer annual giving campaign, which was actually Susan Coe, and there has been a donation of $125 to the CB Hiking Club. Thank you very much. There is no old business, new business. I am just not going to leave that any further just because of the potential of conflict of interest. So I'm asking my vice chair.
Discussion and possible action regarding the farm-to-school grant application.
We would need a motion.
The motion. You have to read the motion.
I thought you told, I thought.
Okay, that's fine. We just have a motion for that?
I'll make a.
Gretchen? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Sorry, I made this clunky. I didn't mean to make it clunky, so I apologize to Andrea. I profusely apologize to you. I made that clunky. We had talked about this in the committee of the whole, about the program. In fact, we had a great presentation about all the stuff that they wanted to do to extend it out. I was just not wanting to be part of the conversation because I didn't want to show any undue influence at all in the fact that I have people who are involved in that who are members of my family. So, but we had a presentation. Any other discussion?
No, it was wonderful.
So all those in favor of the motion to approve the farm to school grant, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion has carried. Sorry once again about the clunkiness. Katrina, could you read number 3, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve class size guidelines.
Have a second, please? Oh, well, could you do 2 instead of 3?
I would remove my motion for number 3. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2019-2020 proposed school calendar. The agenda says 2010.
Right, we have to modify that.
Well, she did.
Oh, goody, look at that. It does.
Can I have a second?
Oh, 20.
Second?
Okay, so Leah seconded it. So this was also something that we've had some major conversations in a lot of the committee of the whole meeting. Dr. Grenier, can you just orient us
Sure.
to what this looks like?
Well, we also consulted with the teachers' union, the administrators' union. We've had some good talks about this. This calendar is very reflective of the regional calendar, so I'll just go through quickly. It would start with the teachers on the 26th of August. Then the teachers would have 3 days of PD. Children would come in on Thursday, the 29th, and have school the 30th, and September, of course, we would be off for Labor Day. In October, the big change from prior years to try to pick up one flexible snow day is that there will be school, if this calendar passes, on the 14th of October, which is typically celebrated for Columbus Day, so we would have school on Columbus Day. In November, the 27th of November, which is to say the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I received lots of really positive comments, by the way, today, for people saying what a delight it was to have the whole day off before, to give a 5-day Thanksgiving break instead of just having early release that day. But anyway, so this calendar would have the whole day off, Thanksgiving Eve. Christmas is right there, as you can see. January, Martin Luther King holiday. February, the 2-day February break. The 13th is a regional PD day. I should have mentioned November 5th is a regional PD day. So we are in lockstep with all the other districts. April vacation, everyone in the region is celebrating the 10th through the 17th as the 10th is Good Friday, through the 17th as our April vacation. May, we just have Memorial Day. And then this would have us ending school on the 11th if there were no snow days. So it gives us, the calendar gives us 6 snow days. And of course, if the board so desired, there could be that 181st day that could be turned from a student day into a PD day. So this calendar would have 7 and still have graduation on the 19th. Who knows?
So
But-
the major change has been the October 14th,
Correct.
which was something that we all sort of agreed to, that kind of gave us that time. Okay, any other conversation? All those in favor of approving the school calendar for the 2019-2020 school year, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
I'm opposed. I would prefer to start school after Labor Day on September 3rd. I think it's a hardship for families. I think it was successful this year that we did do that, and I'm disappointed that we're not going to be doing it this year. So I would rather go to school a little later in June.
Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion has carried. Lee, would you be willing to read number 3, please?
Discussion and possible action regarding the class-side guidelines, attachment number 7. The motion is to approve the class-side guidelines.
Easy for you to say.
Yep.
All right, can I have a second to that?
Second.
And that came from Jane? Okay, and so once again, this was something that we had been working on in the committee of the whole. This actually is something that we should be doing every year because it helps set the stage for our budget parameters when we think about staffing and such. And so do we have any other questions about this? All right, Kira, Rita.
Yes, I'm still looking for, in the special areas, at least having 20 students in a technology education class and 20 students in a consumer science class. 18 is not enough. And I know that there are space limitations, but I really think we need to focus on this. It's been years that we've had this, and there are so many students at Fitch that need electives. And with these limits to 18 students in a tech ed class and 18 in consumer science, it's a hardship. We don't have enough electives as is, and I would like to see that somehow change to 20.
Can I ask a question based on that? And I don't know whether Sue or Dr. Grenier would know the answer. It says preferred maximum class size. So once you get to 18, does that class get then shut off, or does it?
No.
Oh, it does. It does at the high school because this is for us, but if you look at the Fitch, they only have 18, and the consumer sciences because they said they don't have space. So this we got actually right from the high school.
Well, this is what I would say. You're right. Unfortunately, we do turn away students from family and consumer science classes or now culinary arts classes.
Right.
But it really is a kind of a safety issue. We have a certain number of stations for technology education, for example. It's more of a problem in culinary arts. You're right. We unfortunately have to turn children away. But they are working with stoves and, and all that sort of thing. And the state guidelines would encourage us to have about 18. But I can tell you, if there was an opportunity, I mean, we could certainly look into it. And you're right about the preferred. If we could, we are always trying to get more children in these classes. I wouldn't, I don't see this as the gospel that somebody would come back and, if we could, in fact, I'll pursue it. I'll talk to the culinary arts people.
Is it worth, now that we have such a large culinary arts, it's such a big program, would it be worth having another classroom dedicated to this, and having another stove put in? Because it is a very robust program at the high school.
Right. Well, we would need another teacher, and you're right. Obviously, the students rotate by semester, but it is a very popular class. And for good reason. It's good nutrition, and it's good for male and female students to know a little something about cooking. We could look into that. But I wouldn't worry about this. I think your larger issue is that we could use more electives.
Yes.
So that's not about that.
I don't
And
think
also,
that's
and we also have the preferred maximum sizes. So for me, it's the qualifier.
Right.
Am I saying the right word?
You are.
The preferred, okay. So that to me feels what's important. Do you have any more conversation? No. So hearing that?
You have one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Lee.
I still feel strongly that grades 4 and 5 should be treated as elementary students and not lumped in with the middle school and high school students for classroom sizes. They're still little kids. I would like to see sort of all those numbers go down, but that's a perfect world where we don't have budgets and classroom size and certain size spaces. So that's just, in the future, if we ever win the lotto.
In reality, we're actually with you.
Yeah, I know that.
We really want 22, 23 to be the absolute max.
Right.
Unfortunately, sometimes, well, and we talked about this last time, as we consolidate schools and we have more than two fourth grades, that's the real problem. When you have 49 kids show up for two fourth grades, then you've got problems.
Joyfully, we're not a system that says, for every kid you take over 21, we'll give you $100 a week.
Right.
So
No, we're not
I
doing
know a
that.
lot of teachers in other districts that are very happy to take 27 kindergartners.
Thank you, Gretchen. Is there any more,
Pays for their Christmas party.
conversation? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor to approve the class size guidelines that have been, that has been presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion has carried. Thank you, guys. Rita, have I asked you to read?
No, I'd be happy to.
Thank you. Number 4, please, motion?
To approve the purchase of fifth grade Chromebooks using the DoD Supplemental Impact Aid Grant.
Thank you. Can I have a second? I'll second that. That's seconded from Katrina. All right, and I think we have an attachment on that?
Ken, you want to talk a little bit about this?
So we received for FY18 261, a little bit more than 261,000 in for the Department of Defense Supplemental Impact Aid. We have expended to date 111,026 for the grade 9 Chromebooks and for CABE and NSBA dues. So that leaves a balance from that 261 of just a little under 150,000. And so this 40,000 for these Chromebooks would leave us with a little bit less than 110,000 for just this year's grant receipt.
So this would give us a 30 Chromebook cart for each of the 6 elementary schools, and the fifth grade Chromebooks are starting to age out. They're not, it's not that they're not supported, what is it? It's like the
After
software.
this year, they won't be able to handle SBAC, but it does, we can recycle them back for lower grades, but we just need to have more updated technology for fifth grade and any of the SBAC, graded.
Thank you. So we're leaving, assuming we only use the money from this year from the supplemental impact aid, there's about $110,000 that's being left on the table, and that's the either the repair or the replacement of the interactive whiteboards that we're waiting for the high school to. The active boards that we are now getting are really quite expensive. They're like $4,000 a piece. So we're not sure we need interactive boards as opposed to large screen television. So Dennis and the high school folks are working that angle. We're going to be able to fix and repair a lot of it for $110,000 district-wide. But that decision has not yet been recommended.
Okay. Any other question? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion that's on the floor to approve the purchase of the fifth grade Chromebooks using the DoD Supplemental Impact Aid Grant, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Motion has carried, so thank you. Our next item is actually something that we are going to go into an executive session for. I would entertain, if people would be so willing, that we hold that to the end of our meeting so that we can do all the other last parts of our agenda, and then people can then go, so they don't have to stay around for that. We'll do our executive session, which once again is about the teacher's contract and just making sure that the whole board is aware of the hard work that was done by the two parties. So if that's okay?
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I've got full approval. All right, so let's go on to information, letters of communications and comment by board members on meeting items and any other items in their jurisdiction. Katrina?
No, I have nothing.
All right. Gretchen?
Wait a minute, did I do mine?
I'm sorry, what?
Where are we?
We are,
Just a communications
oh, did you
meetings
receive
and-
any communications?
Nothing that didn't come through the board on the first place, so I've been rather insulated this last week.
Yes, I know that you're working really hard on getting your master's. Very excited about that for you. Jane?
I'm just back from an extended health vacation. Surgery and lots of fun things, so nothing yet, but I'm back in town, guys.
And very welcome back, I might add.
Yes. Andrea?
Well, I didn't have anything until tonight,
And then, I've never had a communication bring me to tears until tonight. I received, through you, a letter from a student that my husband and I had 50 years ago. And he talked about how warmly he was welcomed into our school by Keith and me. And that he had come here under very difficult situations. And that he became an artist and drew for our school newspaper, the Tattawa. And I just want to thank Carrie Tilton for writing this letter. And Carrie, I will never forget that you are the kid who liked to pop wheelies on your bike.
Oh, how cool.
That's very nice.
And he congratulated me on my CADE recognition, but that doesn't even compare in any way to this letter. So thank you, Carrie.
Wow, Andrew. How cool that to be recognized 50 years later. That's neat. My friend Lee.
Your turn. What about you?
Oh, I go that way.
Oh, all right. I went to two veteran, I went to one at Westside, which I think is wonderful. I go every year. I also went to the one that we had at Fitch. I also went to the mental health summit. I thought Janine was just, people said that she was not as radical as she usually is, but I thought she was divine. I really did.
She was very funny, too.
Yes, very funny.
Rita?
Oh, I had the pleasure of attending Fitch's Veterans Day ceremony, which was very moving. And I received a lot of communications from people asking about the referendum, December 11th.
Good.
And I wanted to say how much we appreciate people coming out to the board meetings and speaking to us. I mean, that it does mean a lot that take the time to come here for our monthly meeting. So that's about it.
Good point. Is someone willing to talk about, or maybe could we make sure that for people who went to the CAVE conference, which was just recently, but that I think that would be really kind of interesting for us to have that, and maybe I'll put that on the committee of the whole, just so if you guys could just pick up a couple of highlights of things that you picked up, that would be great, because CAVE, which is the Connecticut Association of Boards of Education, has their annual conference the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and it's luckily always in our back door, which is in Mystic, or it has been in Mystic for the past several years, and I know that some of us attended as a board member, so it would be nice to kind of hear. And Dan.
Yes.
Nice job.
Lovely to show up.
Yeah, and so for me, I just had lots of communication around the referendum, both the one that's coming up in December 11th, and my understanding is that if people wanted information about that referendum, that the information is on the town website, and that they can access that information, at least.
The explanatory text.
The explanatory text is on there. Katrina?
I meant to mention something during my report for facilities and finance, is that all of those meetings that we will be having on budget will be posted, and we really would like the public to come. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And so that's the next part of is just a calendar of events that are coming on. So our next one, we'll have, we won't be spending as much time together in December, but we'll make up for it in January and February. But we'll have the committee of the whole, and then we'll have the Board of Ed meeting on the 17th. And I believe policy is meeting on December 17th.
Is that when we're meeting? Yes.
Right.
Okay.
We will have something to say.
I'm sorry. Again, there's a conflict with finance and facilities, so if we could have some email and talk about that. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, there is.
And then we do have that we're having the town body meet on December 5th, but I'm actually thinking that will be canceled just because there's so much stuff going on. But I guess I need to get to
that
people.
would be helpful. Oh, that's a teacher of the year thing, so I can't make
Yeah.
it, and Sue can't make
You're
it.
saying that we're not doing liaison?
Not this month, not in the December. And I will make sure that that message gets out tomorrow.
Because it's next week.
Right.
Right.
Right. All right. All right, is there anything else in terms of suggested agenda items?
I had one. I'd like, for the committee of the whole, I was going to, I don't know if I need to do a referral, but about the Fitch High School, the early dismissals every Tuesday. I think that we need to review that.
It's time.
It's time.
Okay.
That's it.
And I'm going to put that in a cow so we can have a full conversation about that. Super, thank you.
Even if it's in January,
Okay.
whenever.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion, no?
No.
No, please. Please.
To move to executive session.
Right. I am going to make a motion to move, the board to move into an executive session, and that we would have guests of Dr. Grenier and our business
Susan.
manager and Susan. Can I have a second?
I'll second,
All right,
as long as I get distracted while I do it.
all right. All those in favor of moving into executive session with our two guests, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Should we go down
Opposed?
there?
All right.
We
So-
can stay here, can't we?